Well, let's start with the radio show instead. Let's start right there. The name of your show is Viewpoints of the Masses. Why that name? And tell me a little bit about it. How it started? How'd you get the radio show started?
Alhamdulillah. First of all, the show was called Don Morocco.
Don Morocco.
Show.
That's how it was originally called, Don Morocco.
Right. And I got some feedback from my entertainment lawyer from California that it wouldn't be wise for me to use that name, okay. Don Morocco. And I didn't, because a famous wrestler, used that name. So I didn't spell it as the famous wrestler did, but they said it might be a conflict of interest. So I took the advice, and I came up with something simple. So I thought about the concept of the show, what I'm really trying to do, and for the pleasure of Allah. So I said, I'm talking to the masses of people. So I said, why not masses? Viewpoints of the masses. I'm, sharing the viewpoints of people, what they think in the world, their viewpoints of things, and spiritual matters, cultural matters, political matters, entertainment-wise, whatever the case may be. So I came up with that and said, okay, I'll go with that.
So the show is not just about Muslims. It's about the masses. It's about the opinions and the views of the community at large. So it's not just, I say, in a box. So we're thinking out of the box in this show.
Well, I'm thinking out of the box, but at the same time, I also give dawah, Islamic dawah, on the show. Whenever I don't have someone scheduled to be interviewed, per se in the community or outside the community or in the entertainment world, I give dawah.
And for some of our viewers who may not be familiar with the word dawah, this means what?
It means that I give Islamic information, Islamic teachings of what the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, have taught Muslims, the correct way of being a Muslim and teaching Islam to another person who may not be Muslim. So I give that type of knowledge to the masses of people.
Right. When did the show start? Like, how long have you been on the air now?
For a little over 4 years now.
4 years. Okay, cool. And you come on every what day? What's your schedule like?
Every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, from 10 a.m. to 10:30. I used to be an hour long, but due to certain circumstances, they shut me down to 10:30. I mean,
right.
Half an hour. So I said,
right.
okay.
Right. So, who have you? I don't know. I guess you interview people or
Yes.
something like that. Who have you interviewed? Who would be somebody perhaps that we know?
I've interviewed one guy from Staten Island named Gano Grills. I don't know if you're familiar with Gano. I interviewed him. He's a known actor.
Okay.
And he's born and raised in Staten Island. And I interviewed him about a year or two ago, and beautiful interview. And he's about teaching the children how to become men, women, and things like that. He gives talks and stuff like that to them. At the same time, he teaches them about how he got his start in Hollywood and things of that nature, and how he's in different movies as not the main character of the movie, but he has certain parts that he gets.
He got some good parts.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies that we seen. So alhamdulillah.
Well, I'm not familiar with him. I'm sorry about that. If he's watching, I'm not familiar with you. But then again, I'm not familiar with a lot of because I really don't watch too many of the movies or listen to too much of the music. So it's just that I'm a square. All right, so
you're doing the right thing.
I just don't get too much into that. But the listeners of your show, what category would they fall in? Would they be like older people, middle-aged, young, teenage? What do you think the viewers that listen to your show, who would they be?
Very diverse.
Diverse.
I get older people, teenagers, people my age, you name it. But it's for the masses of people. I cater to everybody. Right. So, with the mercy of Allah, He allows me to get the proper, dialect going with the different, different generations of people.
But what made you get into this? I mean, how did you get into it?
Well,
like, could I hook up my own show?
Oh yeah, you could.
Anybody can do this?
Yes.
Okay, but it takes something, and not just anybody can do it. It must take a certain amount of talent, a certain amount of time, or
Well,
knowledge.
if you have something to say,
Okay.
and you're very talented, and you like to talk and give, the correct, information to people, might be a thing for you to do. And I always wanted to be in radio, and I dibble and dabble in the entertainment business myself in the past. And I said, there's not really a platform for people to really express themselves and things of that nature. I mean, you have, the AM talk shows, but they get a little crazy and stuff like that. So I don't want to go crazy. Something that people can sit back, listen, understand, even call in and comment any comments that they may have or questions that they may have for the person I may be interviewing, or from the nasiya, or the information that I'm giving on Islam. So, it's like a platform for the masses of people, the populations on Earth.
Okay.
And it's worldwide.
Yeah, I hear you. What has been the most controversial, say, subject that you've come across while doing radio yourself?
There was two.
Not that we're gonna discuss all of them over here, because I'm not controversial.
It was two.
Just out of curiosity.
But I did a show pertaining to the livelihood of the entertainers. It's a lot of, as we in Islam we call free love, or unpermissible acts of love. And the topic was about that. And should you think that when entertainers get together, should they become husband and wife? Should they become a couple, or should they stay the way they are?
Mm.
And it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's controversial enough. What was the other one?
And the other one, someone from Houston, Texas, who had their own magazine, and I interviewed them, and they had a stalker call.
Wow.
And the stalker called the station and was giving all kind of comments, and
Wow.
And that was kind of a sticky
it-
situation for the person. So
Yeah, it's definitely deep. Let me ask you, on a personal level, you're a Muslim. Have you always been Muslim, or did you convert to Islam
I converted in Islam in 1993.
in 1993?
Yes.
And what made you convert? What was the draw to it? What drew you? First of all, what drew you to Islam, and what made you stay?
Well, at
So
the
like
time,
a two-part question there.
at the time, I used to be a teacher for the Board of Education. I taught carpentry and cabinet making in New York City High School, and I felt my life kind of empty. I married young at age 20, and my marriage wasn't successful, and I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
So I had some type of God consciousness,
Mhm.
and the way my life was running, I wasn't happy, and I strayed away from the Jehovah's Witness concept because I saw at a early age that it wasn't real. It was I saw too much hypocrisy. So in 1991, 92, I asked Allah, not knowing that I was talking to Allah, but I asked God to show me the truth. And I said, I don't like what's happening to me. And I already had children out of wedlock and stuff like that. My marriage is gone, and I went somewhere else, and I had children out of wedlock, and I'm having problems with the women. I said, wow. I said, this is not right. I'm supposed to be married. I'm supposed to have a family. And I asked God, show me the truth. What must I do? And one day I went to school to work, and I was helping another teacher clean out their room. And I came across the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Wow.
And I remember this book. My mother used to have this book, but I never read it. So I asked the teacher, could I borrow this book? She said, oh, you can have it. So I said, thank you. So I took that book home, and I read that book. And I read it 3 times. And each time I read, when it came to the conclusion of the book, when Malcolm X was assassinated, I cried like a baby. And I understood his transition from NOI to being Muslim after his pilgrimage to Mecca and things of that nature, and what he was trying to do. And he was very misunderstood in a lot of things, but he had a lot of things against him as well. I understood this is the path. So I started exploring more of Malcolm X, And after I explored his, what he was doing for, you know, his organizations and stuff like that, I explored his spiritual life, and that's what led me to the Quran and the Sunnah.
Mm.
And I started reading more on the Quran and the Sunnah and what the Sunnah had to offer me and things of that nature. And who Sunnah is this? And it was the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who is the last messenger sent to mankind. And he's from the line of all the messengers and prophets that God sent. So I said, this got to be the truth. So one day, before my grandmother had died, she was a Jehovah's Witness. She gave me the elementary teachings of Islam. And this is about a year before I took my Shahada, 1992. And I looked at the book and I said, what you doing with a book on Islam? What you know about some Islam? Mm-hmm. And she looked at me and said, don't question me. You're going to need this.
Wow.
And at the time I was living in Jersey, I took the book home and I read it and I said, this is it. Everything I read from that book was truth and honesty and real.
The book that you read, what was the name of it again? The
Elementary Teachings of Islam.
The Elementary Teachings
like the fundamentals.
Wow.
Teaching you about the adhan and the prayer and the washing, how to prepare yourself for the prayer and things of that nature. And I said, wow.
And this is in 92, so where'd you start going to the mosque?
In 93, I moved back to Brooklyn.
Where'd you take your Shahada? Who gave you your Shahada?
Sheikh Rashid Muhammad Al-Juma at Masjid Nur al-Islam in Brooklyn.
Alhamdulillah, yes.
And I was working with some other brothers from the Dar al-Islam movement.
Dar al-Islam movement.
They started a community organization called the Ummah Group Incorporated, which is a non-profit organization which they help the communities, Muslim and non-Muslim, in being community-wise and community-conscious of what's going on in the community. And we work with the police department, the 70 precinct, and we work with a lot of community leaders, such as the city council person, the senator, the assemblymen, and people of that nature. And we had functions for the community, many things. And we showed them, how Muslims operate.
Cool.
And with them, the brothers went to Masjid Nur al-Islam, and they was tableeking me, giving me information and making sure that, I was getting the right things. And alhamdulillah, I said, I'm going to take my Shahada.
Good.
And I did, and never looked back ever since, man.
Yeah, they did a good job, brother. You're a good Muslim.
MashaAllah.
Definitely. So you're pretty active with the radio show. Now, you mentioned before that you was, I guess you were into some type of rap music, or you was an agent for the people who listen to rap. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, just briefly, because I know you out of it.
Well, I have my own record label as well.
Oh, okay.
Called H.O.O International Pictures and Entertainment Group.
Cool International?
H.O.O. H-O-O.
H.O.O International.
H.O.O
International.
Right. And I set that up. I used to be a manager, and I worked for various companies in the entertainment business. People like Melba Moore's company and things of that nature. And I just learned some things. I tried to be an artist myself. I used to be an artist, and I didn't like what was going down.
Artist in what field?
In the rap.
Rap, okay.
I had a couple of record deals,
okay,
and they fell through because I chose not to sell my soul, as a lot of these individuals do. And the last time I had a record deal was right before I took my Shahada. I was getting ready to sign with MCA, and certain individuals that work for the company wanted me to do some acts that wasn't my character. And I just got fed up and said, that's it, I'm done, I'm through. You can take your $500,000, you know where you can stick that, and I'm gone. So me learning a little bit about the business and being around a lot of people, in the executive position, I started my own company, a management company, and started working independently and developing artists, teaching artists the business, hoping that they get the right proper deals that they're looking for, and not get sabotaged into selling out, as they say in the business. And it was pretty successful to a certain degree. because I was still trying to be a Muslim and do this, but you can't mix the two. You know what I mean? So, make a long story short, I had a successful group that I was managing out here. Ruckus and Commotion. One of them took their shahada out of the deal, and the other one died. You know, Allah claimed her soul back in 1996. So that kind of fell through because I couldn't promote a dead person. So, you know, I tried to do some other acts, but it just didn't work out.
So you're also into screenwriting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about that.
I've learned that on my own.
Okay.
I didn't go to school for it, anything. I got
Okay.
books and material, and I studied it. And I like to write anyway. I've always been a writer. And I wrote a lot of stories, and, you know, as being a MC or a rapper, I used to write, you know, lyrics and things of that nature.
Have you done anything with it lately, or?
Yes. Put a television show together.
Okay.
Based on a group from H.O.O International called H.O.O, Hands-On Operations. And hopefully in 2013 it'll get picked up. I'm working with some people in California and Hollywood, some directors and stuff like that. And my publicist has a deal with DirecTV with African-American station that will look to pick up the sitcom, or I should say the drama show,
Right.
inshallah. And also, I've been working on some scripts on the lives of Frederick Douglass, on the lives of Nat Turner,
Wow.
Angela Davis, which my publicist liked so much that she shopped a deal for me, and we have that in the making, the story of Angela Davis, inshallah, and H.O.O Brown, and some other influential people. And also, I'm working on some documentaries about Islam and stuff like that. So, which I heard that you were also doing. So, inshallah, we collaborated and put something together.
Well, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do a documentary on the Muslims in New York City. A lot of people don't know that Muslims were here way before Christopher Columbus.
Absolutely.
I mean, the information is there. Now we need to make that available to a lot of people, because it's a funny thing. Whenever Muslims come across bigots, one of the first things that bigots would say to us is, why don't you go back to your own country? Well, the fact is that Islam has been here way before Christopher Columbus. And so when they say go back to your country, I'm going to just tell them, okay, I'll go back to the Bronx or wherever it is, because our roots are here. As Muslims, our roots are here. And of course, this is a country of multi immigrants, and nobody should ever say that to anybody. I mean, it's like a